Right now, you are feeling something. Maybe it is the mild pull of curiosity, maybe a low hum of anxiety about something you cannot quite name, maybe a flicker of satisfaction or restlessness, or that strange hollow feeling you get in the late afternoon for no reason at all. You probably think of these feelings as yours, personal, human, maybe even modern. But here is what you never noticed. That emotion moving through your body right now, it is older than your species, older than mammals, older than the dinosaurs. It is 500 million years old. That is not a metaphor. That is neuroscience. Your brain did not invent emotion. It inherited it from creatures so ancient and so alien to your daily life that you would not recognize them if you walked past one in a museum. And yet, the exact chemical architecture that lit up inside their primitive nervous systems is the same one firing inside you right now, in this moment, as you read these words. The machinery of feeling is one of the oldest survival tools life has ever built, and it has been running, almost unchanged, ever since. To understand why, you need to go back, much further back than you think. Picture the ocean. Not today's ocean. The ocean as it existed roughly 520 million years ago, during what scientists call the Cambrian period. The water is warm. There is no land life yet. No trees, no insects, no birds. Just a teeming ancient sea full of creatures so strange they look like science fiction. Among them is a small, soft-bodied animal, maybe 5 centimeters long. It drifts through the water without a spine, without a face as you would recognize one, without a cortex, without a frontal lobe. It has almost nothing we associate with thinking, but it has something. It has a nervous system. And deep inside that primitive nervous system, something is already happening that your body still does today. It is responding to danger, to food, to temperature, to threat. Not with thought, not with language, but with chemistry, with signals, with states of arousal and withdrawal that orient the creature toward survival and away from death. That is proto-emotion, and it is already here. The neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp spent decades mapping what he called the primary emotional systems of the mammalian brain. He identified 7 core circuits: seeking, rage, fear, lust, care, panic and grief, and play. He wrote about them in capital letters deliberately. These are not metaphors. They are discrete, measurable neural circuits. Circuits you can trace on a brain scan. Circuits that, when electrically stimulated in the right spot, produce the same emotional behavior across every mammal tested, from a rat to a human being. And here is what makes Panksepp's work so radical. These circuits live in the oldest parts of the brain, not in the neocortex where language and abstract thought happen. In the subcortical structures, the basal ganglia, the hypothalamus, the periaqueductal gray, the ancient reptilian premammalian core. These circuits did not evolve in mammals. Mammals inherited them. Think about what that means. When you feel the seeking circuit fire, that restless, driven, dopamine-soaked hunger to find something, to explore, to want, to pursue, you are running the same circuit that a prehistoric fish ran when it searched for food in a shallow sea. When you feel fear constrict your chest and flood your palms with sweat, you are running the same alarm system that a small, warm-blooded creature ran 200 million years ago while it hid from a predator the size of a building. The costume changes, the scenery changes, the species changes. The circuit does not. This is what evolutionary biologist Joseph LeDoux discovered when he traced the fear pathway through the amygdala. The amygdala is not a human structure. It is an ancient structure. It appears in fish, in reptiles, in birds, in every vertebrate lineage scientists have examined. And in every lineage, it does the same job. It detects threat. It triggers a rapid body-wide alarm response before the thinking brain has even been consulted. Before you have processed what you saw, before you have decided how you feel, the amygdala has already acted. That is not a design flaw. That is 400 million years of field-tested engineering. Slow brains died. Fast brains survived. You are descended from the fast ones. But here is the counterintuitive part, the part that changes how you see yourself. You have probably been told explicitly or implicitly that emotions are less reliable than thought, that feelings cloud your judgment, That being rational means overriding the emotional brain with the logical one. That the goal of maturity, of civilization, of intelligence itself is to stop being at the mercy of your feelings. This is almost completely wrong. Or rather, it is wrong in the most important direction. Emotion is not the noise in the signal. Emotion is the signal. It always was. The function of these ancient circuits was never decoration. They were, and still are, the most fundamental mechanism your body uses to orient itself in a world full of information. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio spent years studying patients with damage to the prefrontal cortex, a region tightly linked to emotional processing. These patients could reason, they could speak, they could solve logic problems. They were, by most outward measures, functional, but they could not decide. When asked to make even simple choices, they became paralyzed. They could enumerate the pros and cons of any option indefinitely, but they could not land. Damasio called this the somatic marker hypothesis. Emotion, he argued, is what collapses the infinite space of possible choices into something actionable. The feeling is not an obstacle to the decision. The feeling is what makes the decision possible. Lesion, the emotion circuits, and what you get is not a purer rational agent. What you get is someone who cannot function. The ancient fish was right. Feeling before thinking is not a bug. It is the whole point. Now think about the emotions you felt this week. Not the dramatic ones. The quiet background ones. The mild unease on Sunday evening before the work week starts. The involuntary lift in your chest when someone you like walked into the room. The subtle withdrawal you felt when a conversation went in a direction you did not enjoy. The pull toward warmth, toward comfort, toward something sweet or soft or familiar when the day felt too hard. These are not random noise. They are data. Ancient data. Being processed by ancient circuits on your behalf without your permission before your words are formed. Your ancestors who did not feel that Sunday evening unease, who felt nothing at the approach of the next day's demands, may well have been less prepared, less vigilant, less alive to threat. The ones who survived were the ones the anxiety visited, and the anxiety was not a modern invention. Panksepp's panic and grief circuits, the separation distress system, are directly traceable to the evolution of mammalian pair bonding and parental care. When an infant mammal is separated from its mother, it cries. Not because it has a word for loneliness, not because it has reflected on its situation, because the panic circuit fires, and that signal has one purpose: to re-establish the bond, to bring the warmth back. Every human being who has ever felt the chest-tightening wrongness of profound loss, that physical ache you cannot locate, that heaviness that seems to have mass, is running that same circuit. The one evolution built to make infant mammals scream in the cold so a mother could find them. You are not weak for feeling it. You are ancient. Here is where it gets stranger still. Modern neuroscience is beginning to understand that emotion is not just a response to the world. It is a prediction engine. Lisa Feldman Barrett's research has reframed the way scientists understand how emotion is constructed. The brain, she argues, is not a passive receiver of emotional signals from the body. It is constantly making predictions about what those signals mean based on prior experience, based on culture, based on memory, based on context. Emotion, in her model, is the brain's best guess at what is happening and what it should do next. The gut feeling you cannot explain. The sense that something is wrong before you can articulate what. The certainty that you love a person before you have a single logical reason to. These are predictions. They are extraordinarily fast, extraordinarily sophisticated, built from millions of years of accumulated biological experience, running on hardware older than language. You are not translating feeling into thought. Thought is trying, imperfectly, to narrate something that was already decided somewhere much older and much faster. So the next time you feel something, pause. Not to override it, not to analyze it away, just to recognize it for what it actually is. An ancient signal, one of the oldest pieces of software life ever wrote. The emotion moving through you right now was calibrated in a world without cities, without language, without screens. A world where the cost of getting the signal wrong was not embarrassment or a bad choice, but death. It has survived every extinction, every ice age, every mass die-off that reset the planet. It survived because it works. You are not a modern creature who happens to have emotions. You are a feeling creature who has recently, very recently, learned to think about those feelings. The feelings came first, by several 100 million years, and the feelings, despite everything, are still running the show. Tonight, when something small makes you unexpectedly sad, or something ordinary makes you inexplicably glad, you will not think about evolution. You will just feel it, the way a fish felt it, the way a mammal shivering in the dark felt it, the way every living thing with a nervous system has felt something in some form, since long before your ancestors had faces. Right now, you are feeling something. You always were.